since this game dropped, there's been like 4 top tiers that everybody kind of agrees with. Kain, Hokutomaru, Hotaru, and Billy. But there's one character that I think that's been kind of slipping under everyone's radar, and it's this character right here, Marco Rodriguez. And we just saw Marco do really well at Brussels Challenge. Goichi was using this character and he absolutely demolished. And not only did Goichi play really well this tournament, he looked like he was having a lot of fun doing it too. And I think that says a lot about this character. Marco is really fun to play in this game. If you're looking for an easy to learn, easy to pick up, powerful, balls to the wall, Rushdown Shoto archetype that also gets 50-50 mix after basically every single knockdown, then this guy is for you. So in this guide, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to learn to pick up this character quickly, and you'll be able to hit the ground running and get good with this character as soon as you can. Now, for this guide, I'm going to actually start you off with combos because I know that's what everybody wants to learn first. I'm not going to go through everything, I'm just going to show you the most important ones that you're going to be using in most of your matches, and this will get you to S rank easily, just with these ones alone. So let's talk about what makes this character really good and why you'd want to use him. Well, first of all, he's a 50-50 mix machine. Everything that ends in hard knockdown basically leads into a high-low throw or reversal bait, and most of these setups do lead into meaty high or low setups, so the opponent can't just mash on buttons. So if they don't have an invulnerable reversal, they gotta hold your pressure. Also, for those times when you're not in SPG, he has one of the best anti-rev blow tools in the game with quarter circle back A or quarter circle back AC. This is something unique to Marco, and it really makes him a special character in this game. When Marco has 2 bars, he has access to one of the best anti-fireball tools in the game with his level 2 super. This blows through everything and it's super fast, so it's easy to react with. He has an invulnerable DP, which is always great to have. He's got a really fast dash too. If you learn how to wave dash with this character, you can just like zip through the screen, no problem. So you can apply the pressure whenever you want and quickly close the gap. It's a great tool. Learn how to use this. And Marco does crazy damage when you have 2 bars of meter because you can do this cash out combo. It's not even hard. Then you just link his other level 1 at the end. Boom, easy 663 damage off a jump in with 2 bars. So that's something not a lot of characters can do in the corner. And last but not least, the one tool that really makes this character stand out, a 19 frame unreactable overhead that combos on normal hit. Yes, that's right, you can just do this into a normal hit and you can do combos. You can do that, then you can link it to super after. And there are meaty setups you can do to be +6 or +7, which actually lets you link into his crouching hard punch, which lets you get even better combos and just keeps on looping 50-50, but I'll show you how to do that later on in this guide. So now that we got that over with, let's get into the most important part of this guide, and that's how to play this character. Generally speaking, you want to start with SPG in the first position. That's going to give you access to your win condition, and that is to knock down your opponent with a combo with quarter circle forward BD or any hard knockdown, and then just loop 50-50 high-low throw block kind of offense. And that's basically what this character does. He just wants to knock you down with a hard knockdown and then just try to hit you with like a meaty overhead and then loop the exact same thing. Now there are a ton of setups you can do to loop the meaty overhead, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But general strategy, you want to just kind of control the flow of the match with your really good fireball and then kind of like just dash in, close the gap, and then get in close, harass your opponent with like stand B, pop B, you know, your good normals, try to cross them up sometimes, kind of like that, cross them up. And then once you get into your effective range, you basically just want to mix your opponent with something like a throw, open up opponents who are standing with a dash in low, open them up with a quick overhead into a knockdown, or frame trap them if they're always mashing buttons after they block. And then again, this is going to end with your quarter circle forward BD knockdown, and then you just basically loop that into your 50-50 mix. Then also one of the best parts of this character, if you ever get tired of playing neutral and you just kind of want to get in there, just do a raw quarter circle forward BD. If it hits, you get a hard knockdown, and then if they block, then basically all you have to do is just break the move. You're left at -2, so it's still technically kind of your turn. If you want to be really YOLO, You can DP after this. If they push a button, they lose, but if they block, you lose, so it's kind of like your choice. But you can kind of always mix your opponent. Then if they think you're going to DP after this, you can always kind of go for like a sneaky throw after that, steal your turn back. You have so many options. You can do like guard cancel, things like that, just defend, guard cancel options. So just because you're -2 doesn't really mean your turn's over in this game. So this is just a really, really good neutral skip. Don't be afraid to throw it out. It's just really, really good. So the next thing I want to look at is something that's often a little bit neglected with Marco, and that's not hitting the like and subscribe button for this video. If you like this guide and you're learning something, don't forget to hit those buttons because it helps support me as a content creator and lets me make more videos like this in the future. Alright, so now that we know what's good about this character, let's talk about what's bad. So first and foremost, his heavies kind of suck. Like, they don't really suck, but they're not great either. They don't really have amazing reach. They're not special cancelable on normal hit. So standing heavy kick, standing heavy punch, not that great. The only one that's good is crouching hard punch, but it has really short range and it's kind of hard to use unless you're setting it up or doing it in pressure. So you don't really want to use your heavies with this character too much. You want to focus mainly on your lights, like your standing light kick, standing light punch. These are two moves that are really going to be the bread and butter of your character. You can just dash in, harass with standing B. It's really good. If your hit confirms are on point, you can hit confirm into a level 1 if you got the bar for it. Really, really good. And then standing light punch is also really great. This always kind of combos into his quarter circle forward BD, even at max range. Just like that. So as long as you have bar, you can kind of go into it. Another thing that makes this character kind of bad is that he kind of struggles against characters who do rev guard. So if you're doing your typical heavy into feint pressure, everything kind of whiffs if your opponent is doing rev guard a lot. So you kind of want to stick to pressuring with lights with this character, and then use your fast dash speed to kind of get back in and restart your pressure. Another thing this character struggles with, because he has shorter range on his normals, you're going to have to learn how to like rev guard dash in order to be able to quickly close the gap, because otherwise you're going to be struggling a bit. He doesn't have the greatest reach. Even his neutral skip tool, quarter circle forward BD, doesn't really go that far. So you're going to have to close the gap really quick, get in that way. So you're going to need to learn how to do rev guard dash. If you can't, this character might be a little bit hard for you in neutral, but it's not hard to do. Another thing that kind of sucks for this character are his 3 hit confirms. He only gets a 3 hit confirm if he's doing it like point blank. But if you don't have bar, or if you're in overheat, you can't do a 3 hit confirm into a combo. Nothing else will combo after this. See, that doesn't combo. You can't do that. You can't do DP. You can't do quarter circle forward D. Even his fireball doesn't combo after that. Not even the OD version. Or the Rev Excel version, whatever. So if you're doing confirms with this character, I would say stick to 2 hit confirms. This way you can always go into your DP. But if you're focusing on 3 hit confirms, basically you're limited to either canceling into super, like this, or using meter to go into quarter circle forward BD. But again, if you're in overheat, you can't do that. So that makes this character a little bit weak in terms of his 3 hit confirms. You really got to focus on doing 2 hit confirms, especially off of jump ins. Remember I was saying his heavies kind of suck? They have really slow startup. So getting something like a standing D, it's 10 frame startup. And if you look at this jump C, I'm only +8 here. So you have to time this like really, really deep to get your +10. And most times when you're jumping at your opponent, you're not going to be hitting it like on the last frame. So you're not even going to be able to combo into standing D here. So you kind of always just have to go into your crouching C right away, which means if you're not able to 2 hit confirm this off the jump in, you're not going to be able to do his best combos. So if you're the kind of player who kind of struggles with 2 hit confirms, this character might not be for you. But if you're a player who's really good at 2 hit confirms, I think you're really going to enjoy this character and you'll be able to do his good stuff no problem. And the last thing that makes this character a little bit weak, not necessarily weak, but I feel like it's kind of easy to blow yourself up a bit. So you can be a little bit too crazy with your overhead setups and like your meaty pressure, and you might like mess up your meaty timing, and you might be too aggressive, and you might end up eating a lot of DPs or a lot of wake up supers. So you're gonna have to make some reads on your opponent, and you have to try to not be too predictable when you're mixing up your high-low throw options with this character. I think it's easy to like overextend with this guy, is what I can say. But as long as you're kind of like holding yourself in check and you're not going for the same options all the time, I'm sure you'll do well, and you're going to be mixing your opponents up all day. You're going to have a good time, trust me. So now for the most important part, how to set up your 50-50 mix. So basically this character gets 50-50 mix off of any hard knockdown in this game, and there are tons of setups you can do, way too many for me to put just in one quick guide. So I'm going to show you the most important ones that you're going to be using. Let's start with this. Any combo that kind of leads into your CDP break. After this, you're going to jump forward, and you're going to just push jumping light as you're falling from your jump. Then after that, you're going to do an immediate forward A for your overhead, and that'll leave you +6, which means you can link into your crouching C after that and loop the exact same combo. And you just keep on looping this over and over again until you win. Pretty much. That's the overhead setup. Then you can also switch that up by going into a quick low. So you're going to do the exact same combo, except this time when you land from the jump A, you're going to push forward plus feint to do this as a frame kill. And then after the frame kill, you're going to go into crouch B, stand B, and then try to confirm from there. And that's your low mix. And then you just run the exact same thing again. Then if you think your opponent is going to block or something, or you're not quite sure about what you want to do, or if they're doing like fuzzy block or something like that, what you can always do is you can just go for a throw afterwards. So you do the exact same low mix, but now you go for a throw instead. Just like that. And you might be wondering, do you get a meaty mix-up after normal throw? Yes, you do. It's a little bit harder to time, but you get one, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So after a forward throw mid-screen, you're going to do a forward throw, you're going to do a dash jump, and then as soon as you land, you're going to go for forward A. So it'll look like this. And that'll only leave you +5, so you can't get a crouching C after that, but you can link into crouching A, quarter circle forward BD, and loop your same pressure there. If your opponent decides to mash on wake up, you're going to hit them meaty, and it's going to be a counter hit, so it'll look like this. And then you can confirm into crouching C into your regular DP break mid-screen combo. And of course you can also go for a low off of this, just wait a little bit, hit him with a crouching B, and it loops into the exact same thing mid-screen again. I can't help but laughing because it's so fun and easy to do, but I hope you can see the vision of how you're supposed to play this character. Then you can even set up mix after a back throw. So your general mix here is going to be back throw into your universal overhead. That'll leave you +5, which means you can link crouching A into this again. Then if you want to set up the low, you just dash in, go for crouching B, and you get the exact same combo that we've been doing this whole time. It's really, really good. Then off this back throw setup, if your opponent decides to mash a 4-frame normal, you'll get a counter hit, and you go back into your really good combo again, your launcher. Okay, so next we have to talk about how to get your 50-50 mix off of grounded combos. So remember the combo we've been doing this whole time? They all use the DPC break. That's if they're in the air, and that's the easiest way to set up your mid-screen or corner 50-50 mix. But if you only get it off grounded lights like this, the setup changes, and this is a little bit harder to set up because if you go for your typical setup here, which is going to be hop, the typical setup here is going to be hop, whiff A on your way down, and then you're going to go for forward A. But we have to delay the forward A a bit because if you just do it immediate timing, you're going to actually be a little bit too soon. You have too much frame advantage when you land, so you have to manually delay it just a little bit by about 1 or 2 frames. It's really annoying to do, and it's not that great, but if you practice it, you're going to be able to get it. There, that's +6. I had to manually delay that a little bit. So it's not really fun to do, it's not great, but that's exactly why we put SPG in the first position, because after the third hit, if you do your rev blow, you get a knockdown there, and that gives us enough time to set up a really easy meaty overhead setup. So the grounded meaty setup off lights would look like this. Hop A, land into this, that gives you +6. So that's the setup you're going to want to learn. Then for your launcher combo, so anything that goes with CDP break into this, if you want to tack on some extra damage at the end with your rev blow, you can, and then you get one more easy overhead +6 on hit combo, and it looks like this. So here, this, then you can do quarter circle forward B, break, immediate forward A, and if you time that properly, you're going to be +6. Let's see if I can time it right this time. There, +6 or +7 depending on your timing. It's really not hard to do. So one more time. Any combo that does CDP break, or circle forward BD. There. And you can just keep on looping this as much as you want. Go into the low, mix them up, finish them off with a super, get high damage, and that's basically it. That's how you kind of want to play this character. You just loop them to death. Then the most important part, if your opponent has a DP or an invulnerable move, your opponent can always wake up and do a super or an invulnerable DP against you. So at those times, you're just going to want to fake them out and just block and then basically punish their super or their DP. So it would look like this. You go for your basic knockdown, feint them out, And even for no super meter, with your rev blow, that does 500 damage, which is basically half their health. You're off by 1 point of health to be 50% of their health. So that's really powerful. Then if you tack on some super meter at the end, well, you do even more damage. This might actually do, this does over 650, I think. 645, I was off by 5 points. But yeah, tons of damage if you have the resources for it. You can always just do a level 1 fireball or a level 2 fireball after this move here, if you don't have the resources for it, and you basically get just as good damage. So basically just pick and choose your supers however you want. But in a nutshell, that's how you play this character. Just really focus on the neutral game, don't take crazy risk, don't start mashing on heavies too much. If you have a read on their jump habits, then yeah, you can use stand D, or if you know they're going to whiff, you can do stand C. And I'll just leave you with this one before we go. This is a little bit awkward. If you do get a wild punish on stand C, what you're going to want to do is dash in and do crouch C. Like this. Into DP, into your typical ender, and then set up your mix, and don't need the DP. You gotta bait those out. Alright, and that's pretty much it for this guide. I hope you learned something, and I hope you try out Marco because I think he's a ton of fun. I'm gonna leave a link in the description by a player named V-Ryu, an old school Street Fighter player who put together a really quick, really good resource for all of Marco's basic knockdown situations and meaty 50-50 setups off of his common knockdown, so check that out. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.